Welcome everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation. We'll be exploring questions and answers from the first chapters of Discover Canada. This is part of our Top 50 Citizenship Questions series. Over the next few slides, we'll cover some key topics that are essential for understanding Canadian citizenship. Let's get started and dive into what makes Canada unique and how you can prepare for your citizenship journey. So let's start with a key question. What is the official citizenship study guide called? Well, the answer is Discover Canada, the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. This guide is really important because it provides all the essential information that new Canadians need to understand about their rights, duties, and the responsibilities that come with being a citizen. It covers topics like Canadian history, values, institutions, and the legal rights you have as a citizen. Understanding this guide is crucial because it helps you become more informed and engaged in your new community. It ties directly into the overall theme of our presentation, which is about understanding and embracing what it means to be a Canadian citizen. So, knowing the name of this guide is the first step toward becoming a knowledgeable and active participant in Canadian society. So, let's talk about Canada's official languages. The question here is, what are Canada's official languages? And the answer is quite straightforward. They are English and French. These two languages are recognized at the federal level, which means they are both official throughout the entire country. This bilingual status is a reflection of Canada's rich history and cultural diversity. It also highlights the importance of respecting and promoting both languages in government, education, and everyday life. Understanding this helps us appreciate how language plays a key role in shaping national identity and fostering inclusivity across Canada. So let's talk about who needs to take the citizenship test. The key point here is that applicants between the ages of 18 and 54 are the ones required to complete this step. This age range is important because it's the group that the immigration authorities have determined should demonstrate their knowledge of U.S. civics and history as part of the naturalization process. Remember, if you're outside this age bracket, you might not need to take the test, but for those within it, it's a crucial part of becoming a U.S. citizen. This requirement ties into the overall theme of understanding the responsibilities and expectations involved in the naturalization journey. It's about making sure new citizens are well-informed and ready to participate fully in civic life. So let's talk about what the two basic requirements are that are tested. First, you need to demonstrate knowledge of Canada. This includes understanding Canadian history, values, institutions, and symbols. It's essentially about showing you know what makes Canada unique and how it functions. The second requirement is knowledge of either English or French. Since these are the two official languages of Canada, being proficient in at least one of them is crucial for communication and integration. Together, these requirements ensure that newcomers are familiar with the country's core identity and can effectively participate in Canadian society. Remember, these are fundamental to the overall goal of fostering informed and engaged residents who can contribute positively to the community. So, after you pass the citizenship test, what's next? Well, the next step is attending a citizenship ceremony. This is a special event where you officially become a citizen. During the ceremony, you'll take the oath of citizenship, which is a pledge of loyalty to the country and its values. This moment is really important because it marks the official transition from applicant to full citizen. Remember, passing the test is a big achievement, but the ceremony is where you make that commitment official. It ties everything together and brings your journey to a meaningful close. So, after the ceremony, you might be wondering what new citizens actually receive as a symbol of their new status. The answer is a Canadian Citizenship Certificate. This certificate is a formal document that officially recognizes your status as a Canadian citizen. It's an important document to keep safe because it serves as proof of your citizenship. Remember, this certificate is more than just paper. It represents your commitment and connection to Canada. It's a key part of your journey and your new identity here. So you might be wondering, what kind of government does Canada have? Well, Canada operates as a constitutional monarchy, which means that we recognize a monarch. Currently Queen Elizabeth II, as the official head of state, but her powers are largely ceremonial and limited by the Constitution. At the same time, Canada is a parliamentary democracy, so the government is run by elected representatives in Parliament, and the Prime Minister is the head of government. This setup ensures that the people's voice is reflected in the decisions made at the national level. And finally, Canada is a federal state, meaning that power is divided between the national government and individual provinces and territories. This division allows each region to have some autonomy and govern itself in certain areas, like education and healthcare. Together, these elements, constitutional monarchy, parliamentary democracy, and federal structure, really shape how Canada functions and connect to our overall theme of understanding different forms of government around the world. So let's talk about the rule of law. Essentially, it means that everyone, without exception, including governments, must obey the law. No one is above it. This principle is fundamental because it ensures fairness and accountability in a society. When everyone follows the same set of rules, it helps maintain order and protect individual rights. This concept ties into our overall theme of justice and governance, reminding us that laws are the backbone of a fair and functioning society. It's a reminder that the rule of law is what keeps power in check and safeguards democracy. So, what exactly is the oath of citizenship? Well, it's a promise that new citizens make to demonstrate their commitment to Canada. When someone takes this oath, they are essentially pledging their loyalty to the country and to the king. It's also a promise to follow and obey Canadian laws. This oath is a key part of becoming a Canadian citizen because it symbolizes their dedication to the country's values and legal system. Remember, this oath connects to the overall theme of citizenship, emphasizing responsibility, allegiance, and respect for the rules that keep our society fair and safe. So, who exactly represents all Canadians when they take the oath? The answer is the sovereign, which means the King or Queen of Canada. This is a key point because it highlights the connection between our country and the monarchy. When Canadians swear their oath, they are essentially pledging loyalty to the Crown, which symbolizes the unity and continuity of our nation. This connection reminds us that the sovereign acts as a unifying figure for all Canadians, regardless of where they come from. It ties into the broader theme of our presentation by emphasizing the importance of tradition and shared values in our constitutional system. So, when we think about the fundamental freedoms in Canada, what are some of the key rights that come to mind? Well, primarily, we have freedom of religion, which means that people are free to practice their faith without interference or persecution. Then there's freedom of speech, allowing individuals to express their opinions and ideas openly. We also have the freedom of assembly, which means people can gather peacefully for protests, rallies, or community events. And finally, freedom of association, giving us the right to join groups, clubs, or organizations that share our interests. These freedoms are really the foundation of our democratic society and help ensure that everyone can participate fully and freely in community life. They connect directly to our overall theme of rights and protections that support our way of life here in Canada. So, to answer the question, what document firmly established the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? The answer is the Constitution Act, 1982. This was a pivotal moment in Canadian history because it officially entrenched the Charter into our Constitution, giving Canadians fundamental rights and freedoms that are protected by law. It marked a significant step in ensuring that individual rights are upheld across the country. Remember, this was part of a broader effort to strengthen our national identity and legal framework, which ties into the overall theme of understanding how Canada's legal and constitutional foundations protect our democracy. So let's talk about mobility rights. Essentially, these rights give us the freedom to live and work anywhere in Canada. This is a key aspect of our country's commitment to equality and freedom of movement. It means that no matter where you are in Canada, you have the right to move freely to another province or territory if you choose. This connects to the broader theme of individual rights and freedoms that we're exploring in this presentation. Mobility rights help ensure that Canadians can seek opportunities and settle where they feel most at home or where they can best contribute. It's a fundamental part of a united and flexible nation. So, when we talk about multiculturalism in Canada, what does that really mean? Essentially, it's about respecting and celebrating the diverse range of cultures that make up our country. It's not just about tolerating different cultures, but truly appreciating the richness they bring to our society. This approach encourages us to learn from each other, share our traditions, and understand different perspectives. By doing so, we create a more inclusive and vibrant community. This idea ties into the overall theme of our presentation, which is about understanding the values that shape Canadian identity and how embracing diversity helps us grow stronger together. So, let's talk about some of the responsibilities that come with being a citizen. First and foremost, obeying the law is essential. It helps keep our communities safe and functioning smoothly. Voting is another key responsibility because it allows us to have a say in how our government is run and influences important decisions that affect everyone. Volunteering is also a vital part of citizenship. It's about giving back to our communities and helping those in need. And lastly, protecting the environment is increasingly important, as it ensures we preserve natural resources for future generations. These responsibilities are all interconnected and reflect the core idea that citizenship involves actively contributing to the well-being of our society. So, to address the question, is jury duty mandatory in Canada? The answer is yes, it is mandatory when you are called to serve. In Canada, jury duty is considered a civic duty, and if you receive a summons, you're legally required to participate. This obligation helps ensure that our justice system functions fairly and effectively. It's an important responsibility that supports the integrity of trials and the legal process. Remember, being called for jury duty is a part of our civic participation, and fulfilling this duty helps uphold the principles of justice in our society. So, to answer the question, are men and women equal under Canadian law? And the answer is yes. Canada's legal system explicitly guarantees equality for all genders. This means that men and women are protected from discrimination and have equal rights under the law. It's a fundamental principle that supports fairness and justice in our society. Throughout the presentation, we've seen how these legal protections shape a more equitable environment. Remember, laws like the Canadian Human Rights Act and the Constitution are designed to ensure that everyone is treated equally, regardless of gender. This is a core part of our commitment to equality and social justice. So, to answer the question, what practices are not tolerated in Canada? Well, Canada has a clear stance against certain harmful practices that violate human rights. These include forced marriage, which is when individuals are compelled to marry against their will. We also strongly oppose honor killings, where someone is murdered because they're perceived to have brought shame to their family or community. And finally, gender-based violence, which encompasses any violence directed at someone because of their gender or gender identity. These practices are not only illegal, but are also fundamentally incompatible with Canada's values of equality and respect for human dignity. It's important to understand that these issues are taken very seriously here, and there are strict laws and support systems in place to prevent and address them. This ties into the overall theme of promoting human rights and protecting individuals from harm in our society. So, who are the three founding peoples of Canada? Well, the answer is the Aboriginal peoples, the French, and the British. These groups played a crucial role in shaping the country's identity and history. The Aboriginal peoples, including First Nations, Métis, and Inuit, were the original inhabitants long before European contact. Then, the French arrived and established early settlements, especially in regions like Quebec. Later on, the British also came and took control, influencing language, governance, and culture. Understanding these three foundational groups helps us see how diverse and complex Canada's roots are, which ties into the overall theme of nation-building and multiculturalism. So, who are Aboriginal peoples? Well, they are generally recognized as First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. These groups each have their own distinct cultures, languages, and histories, but they all share a deep connection to the land and a rich heritage that predates European contact. Understanding these identities helps us appreciate the diversity and resilience of Indigenous communities across Canada. As we explore the broader themes of history and reconciliation, recognizing these different groups is crucial to understanding the full story of our nation. So when we ask, what does Inuit mean? The answer is simply the people. It's a term that refers to the community itself, those who have lived in the Arctic regions for thousands of years. Understanding this helps us see that the Inuit are more than just a group of individuals. They are a culture, a way of life, connected deeply to their environment. This idea ties into our broader theme of exploring how Indigenous peoples adapt and thrive in their unique landscapes. Recognizing that Inuit means the people reminds us of the importance of respecting their identity and heritage as we learn more about their history and contributions. So the question here is, what language do the Métis traditionally speak? And the answer is Michif. Michif is a unique language that reflects the Métis' heritage and history. It's a fascinating blend, combining elements of French and Indigenous languages, which really highlights their cultural crossroads. Understanding Michif helps us appreciate the rich cultural identity of the Métis people. It's more than just a language. It's a symbol of their resilience and the blending of different traditions over generations. This connection to language is a vital part of preserving their history and cultural expression today. So let's move on to the next question. Which province is officially bilingual? Well, the answer is New Brunswick. This is a key point because New Brunswick is unique in Canada for recognizing both English and French as official languages at the provincial level. This bilingual status reflects the rich cultural heritage and diverse communities within the province. It also highlights the importance of language rights and government services available in both languages. Remember, this makes New Brunswick a special example of how bilingualism can be integrated into provincial identity, supporting inclusivity and cultural preservation across the country. Who are the Acadians? Well, they are the descendants of the early French settlers who established communities in the maritime provinces. These settlers arrived centuries ago and developed a distinct culture that has persisted through generations. Understanding who the Acadians are helps us see the rich cultural tapestry of this region and how history has shaped the diverse identities we see today. Their story is a key part of the larger narrative of exploration, settlement, and cultural resilience in North America. So, in 2006, the House of Commons made a significant recognition. They acknowledged that the Québécois, while being part of Canada, also form a distinct nation within a united Canada. This was a historic moment because it officially recognized the unique cultural and linguistic identity of Quebec. It highlights how Canada values its diversity and the importance of respecting regional identities. This recognition fits into our overall discussion about Canada's evolving national identity and the ongoing dialogue about unity and diversity within the country. Why is Canada called a land of immigrants? Well, the answer lies in the fact that millions of newcomers from all over the world have played a vital role in shaping this country. These immigrants helped build our cities, work our industries, and defend our borders. They bring diverse cultures, ideas, and skills that enrich Canadian society. This history of welcoming newcomers is a core part of Canada's identity and explains why we're often seen as a nation built on immigration. It's a testament to the ongoing contribution of people from different backgrounds, which continues to define who we are today. So let's move on to the next question. Which religion has the largest following in Canada? The answer is Christianity. This is a significant point because it highlights the major religious demographic in the country. Christianity has a long history in Canada and continues to be the predominant faith practiced today. Understanding this helps us grasp the cultural and social influences that shape Canadian society. It also connects to the broader theme of religious diversity and demographic trends across the nation. So, when we think about Canada's religious landscape, Christianity stands out as the most widely followed religion among Canadians. So, let's talk about the rights that gay and lesbian Canadians have. Essentially, they are entitled to the same protections and treatment under the law as everyone else. This means that discrimination or unfair treatment based on sexual orientation is not acceptable and is legally prohibited. It's a fundamental part of Canada's commitment to equality and human rights. This ensures that all individuals, regardless of who they love, can access the same opportunities and protections in society. This point ties into our overall theme of promoting fairness, equality, and respect for diversity across the country. So, who were the first Europeans to reach Canada? That's right, it was the Vikings. These explorers from Scandinavia were among the earliest Europeans to set foot on North American soil, nearly 500 years before Columbus. They established temporary settlements, like the one at Elance Ox Meadows in Newfoundland, which is the only confirmed Viking site in North America. This highlights how their expeditions mark an important chapter in the history of exploration and remind us that long before other European nations arrived, the Vikings had already reached and explored parts of what we now call Canada. Their voyages are a fascinating example of early exploration and help us understand the broader theme of European contact with the New World. So, who explored Canada's east coast back in 1497? The answer is John Cabot. He was an Italian explorer working under the English flag, and his voyage was crucial because it marked one of the earliest European explorations of North America's eastern shores. Cabot's journey helped to open the door for future exploration and eventual colonization by Europeans. This discovery is an important piece of the larger story of European exploration and the beginning of contact with the New World. It connects to our overall theme of how European nations sought new routes and territories, shaping the history of North America. So, have you ever wondered who actually named Canada? Well, it turns out that the name comes from a French explorer named Jacques Cartier. When he was exploring the region, he heard the local people use the word Canada, which meant village or settlement. Cartier misunderstood or adopted this word to refer to the land itself. Over time, Canada evolved into Canada, the name we use today. It's a great example of how indigenous words and European exploration combined to shape the identity of this country. This story highlights the deep connections between the native languages and the history of European explorers, which is a recurring theme in understanding Canada's rich cultural heritage. So let's look at the word Canada. Does anyone know what it means? Well, the answer is village. This term actually has deep roots and significance, especially in the context of indigenous languages and cultures. Understanding this helps us appreciate how language reflects community and connection. When we think about the broader themes of this presentation, identity, heritage, and the importance of language, Canada reminds us of the importance of community spaces, both physical and cultural. It highlights how language is more than just words. It's a reflection of our collective identity and history. So the question here is, who founded Quebec City? And the answer is Samuel de Champlain. Champlain was a French explorer and cartographer who played a crucial role in establishing Quebec City in 1608. His leadership and vision helped create one of the first enduring European settlements in North America. This founding is a key moment because it marked the beginning of what would become a major cultural and historical hub in Canada. As we see throughout this presentation, understanding the origins of Quebec City helps us appreciate its rich history and its importance in the development of the region. So, what was New France? Well, it was the French colony in North America. Essentially, this was the area that France controlled in what is now Canada and parts of the United States. It played a significant role in the history of North America because it was one of the main European powers exploring and settling in this continent. Understanding New France helps us see how European nations competed for land, resources, and influence in the New World. It's a key piece of the broader story of exploration, colonization, and the shaping of North American history. So, when we ask which company dominated the fur trade, the answer is the Hudson's Bay Company. This company played a central role in shaping the fur trade industry and the history of the region. They established extensive trading networks and had a significant presence across what is now Canada. Their dominance helped to control the fur market for many years, influencing the economic development of the area. Understanding their role is key to grasping the broader story of trade, exploration, and the relationships between European settlers and indigenous peoples. It really highlights how powerful and influential these trading companies were during that era. So the question here is, what battle marked the end of France's empire in America? The answer is the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, which took place in 1759. This battle was a pivotal moment in history because it effectively ended France's control over its North American territories. It was fought outside Quebec, and it was part of the larger conflict known as the French and Indian War. The British forces, led by General Wolfe, faced off against the French, commanded by Marquis de Montcalm. Although both commanders were mortally wounded, the British victory was decisive. This victory led to Britain gaining control of Canada and other significant territories, shifting the balance of power in North America. So, in the context of our overall theme, this battle symbolizes a major turning point, the decline of French influence and the rise of British dominance in the New World. So, what did the Quebec Act of 1774 actually allow? Well, it granted religious freedom specifically for Catholics, which was a significant change at the time, considering the dominance of Protestantism in other British colonies. It also recognized French civil law, which was important because it helped preserve the cultural identity and legal traditions of the French-speaking population in Quebec. This act was part of a broader effort to accommodate the diverse populations within the British Empire and maintain peace in the region. It's a key example of how colonial policies could influence local customs and rights, and it connects to the overall theme of how different groups navigated their identities and freedoms during this period. So, who exactly were the Loyalists? Well, they were the people who remained loyal to the British Crown during the American Revolution. Unlike the Patriots, who sought independence, Loyalists believed in staying connected to Britain and its authority. Many of them faced difficult choices. Some fled the colonies to escape persecution or punishment, especially after the Revolution gained momentum. These Loyalists included a diverse group: merchants, government officials, and even some ordinary citizens, who felt that loyalty to Britain was in their best interest. Their story helps us understand the complex range of loyalties and conflicts that existed during this tumultuous time, highlighting that the revolution wasn't just a straightforward fight for independence, but also involved deeply personal and political divisions. So, let's talk about the War of 1812. This was a conflict primarily between Britain, which at the time included Canada, and the United States. It's often called the Second War of Independence because it was about asserting sovereignty and protecting American interests. The war was fueled by issues like trade restrictions, impressment of American sailors, and territorial expansion. It lasted from 1812 to 1815 and involved a series of battles across North America. Understanding this war helps us see how early conflicts shaped the development of both Canada and the United States, reinforcing the broader theme of nation building and identity. So, who was Tecumseh? Well, he was a Shawnee chief who played a significant role in defending Canada. Tecumseh was known for uniting various Native American tribes to resist American expansion. His leadership was crucial during a time when Native nations were trying to protect their lands and way of life. By aligning with the British, he helped defend Canada from American forces. His efforts highlight the broader theme of Native resistance and their strategic alliances during this period. Tecumseh's legacy is a testament to his dedication to his people's sovereignty and his impact on North American history. So, who was Laura Secord? Well, she was a remarkable heroine during the War of 1812. She is best known for warning the British troops about an impending American attack. Her brave actions helped the British prepare and ultimately contributed to their defense. Laura Secord's story is a powerful example of individual courage and how one person's efforts can make a significant difference in the larger context of our history. Her bravery connects to the overall theme of resilience and patriotism that we've been exploring throughout this presentation. Who was Sir Isaac Brock? Well, he was a key military leader during the War of 1812, and he played a crucial role in defending Canada. Brock is often remembered for his bravery and strategic skills in protecting Canadian territory from American forces. His leadership helped to rally the troops and boost morale during challenging times. Understanding his contributions gives us a better picture of how Canada's early defenses were shaped and highlights the importance of strong leadership in times of conflict. So, as we explore the broader history of Canadian resilience, Brock stands out as a significant figure in that story. So, what was responsible government? Well, it refers to a system where the government is accountable to elected representatives, meaning that those who govern are answerable to the people through their chosen officials. This concept is a key step in the development of self-governing institutions, where power is not just held by a few appointed leaders, but is responsible to the people. It marked a shift towards more democratic governance, emphasizing that decisions affecting the public should be made by representatives who are directly elected by the citizens. Understanding responsible government helps us see how political power became more accountable, and how colonies moved towards independence and self-rule. It's a fundamental idea that connects to the broader theme of how governance evolved over time to become more representative and responsive to the people's needs. Who became the first Prime Minister of Canada? The answer is Sir John A. Macdonald. He played a crucial role in shaping the nation during its early years. As the first Prime Minister, he helped establish the federal government and set the foundation for Canada's political system. His leadership was vital in uniting the provinces and navigating the challenges of a young, developing country. This moment marks a significant milestone in Canadian history, highlighting the importance of strong leadership in nation building. Remember, Sir John A. Macdonald's contributions are a key part of understanding how Canada became the country we know today. So, when was Confederation? Well, it officially took place on July 1, 1867. This date marks the beginning of Canada as a self-governing dominion, uniting several colonies into one country. It's a really important milestone in our history because it laid the foundation for the Canada we know today. Remember, this event didn't happen overnight. It was the result of years of negotiations and planning among the colonies. But July 1st, 1867, is when it all came together, when these colonies joined together to form one united nation. So the question here is, which four provinces came together to form Canada in 1867? And the answer is Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. These four regions played a crucial role in the birth of the country as we know it today. They united to create a federation that would be stronger and more secure, especially in facing external threats and economic challenges. This initial union laid the foundation for the expansion and development of Canada as a nation. Understanding this original grouping helps us see how the country grew from these core provinces into the vast, diverse nation it is now. So, what is Canada Day? Well, it's a celebration that marks the anniversary of Confederation, which took place on July 1st. This day is really special because it signifies the founding of our country as a united nation. Every year, Canadians come together to celebrate our history, culture, and shared identity. It's a day filled with fireworks, parades, and community events that remind us of the importance of our collective heritage. Remember, this celebration is not just about a date on the calendar, but about recognizing the values and history that shape who we are today as a nation. So, when we ask, what is the meaning of dominion from sea to sea, we're really talking about more than just territory. It's about a vision of a united country that stretches all across the continent, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. This idea embodies a sense of sovereignty, strength, and unity, emphasizing that the nation is connected and has the power to govern itself. It's a symbol of national pride and ambition, reflecting the desire to unify diverse regions into one cohesive identity. Throughout our discussion, keep in mind how this concept of dominion is central to understanding Canada's development and the broader theme of nation building. So, who led the Red River Resistance? The answer is Louis Riel. He was a key figure in Canadian history, especially for the Métis community. Riel was a leader who fought to protect Métis rights and culture during a time of great change and challenge. The Red River Resistance was a pivotal moment where Riel organized the Métis people to stand up against the Canadian government's attempts to assert control over their land and way of life. His leadership helped to bring attention to the issues faced by the Métis and ultimately led to important negotiations and treaties. Understanding Riel's role helps us see how Indigenous and Métis communities actively shaped their futures, even in the face of adversity. So, to wrap up our quiz, here's the final question. What is the capital city of Canada? The answer is Ottawa. Ottawa is not only the political center of the country, but it's also rich in history and culture. It highlights how countries often have distinct capitals that serve as hubs for government, culture, and identity. Remember, understanding these key facts helps us appreciate the broader context of national identities and geography. Thank you for your attention throughout this presentation.